Welcome to this month's edition of The Breeze. We've got an interesting topic today. Today we wanted to talk a little bit about something that we talked about in one of our earliest shows. We talked about, what do you think the image of Sun City people is? And how do you perceive Sun City's lifestyle and image as you've moved along? And there are some things that, sometimes you have little things that get maybe a pet peeve, like somebody doesn't use a turn signal. Ho hum. Okay? That's not a thing. But it also is true that the attitude that you exhibit toward not only your neighbors, but also the people who are providing services for you, either in Sun City or outside the community. And how has your attitude evolved about your image of Sun City people?
I think mine has certainly improved in that I think that through the things that I do personally, going around and smiling, trying to give forward when I can. I met somebody on a train, just as a person, I think in general. If I'm feeling good, I heard someone at the train station saying she needed some help with her husband and she couldn't find anyone to take him over to the train, to push his cart, his chair. And I offered. And she says, well, thank you very much. And it wasn't about Sun City, it was just about being a good person.
Well, do you think that that's the norm?
I think it's becoming the new normal. I think people are more conscious of the fact that we need each other. And this community breeds that kind of person, I think. And I think if we see somebody who's not, happy or a little introverted or whatever, that we can impact their lives.
Well, I think that's right. And I think you've got some choices when you see a situation like that or other situation where you have choices, you have options. One option is to ignore it.
Sure.
That's not my problem. Move on with your life. Good luck. The other is to, at the other end of the scale is to do something which is not so random, but a random act of kindness. All right? You're extra nice to somebody who's having a tough day. You take care of somebody who's experiencing a problem without making them feel inadequate.
Right.
And then, of course, there's the third option, and that is to get angry. Now, you may disagree with that, but the third option is you get angry is, why does this have to invade my life? All right, and how can I just be grumpy about this? And how can I make this a personal affront to me? And what do I do about it? Do you think I'm crazy, Margie?
Well, I think
You shouldn't ask that question.
Well, I think it depends on what attitude we decide to have for the day, and I think sometimes it's purposeful. I think you have to say, today is going to be a lousy day, because, or, boy, today, going to be tough, but let's go on. Let's try to do the best we can. I mean, I could get more deeper into that, but it's just attitude. Is what do we want to be bothered with if we don't like something? I mean, why make our day worse by concentrating on it or letting it bother us? It's like, in the scheme of things, so what if somebody cuts me off in traffic? Oh, I don't like it, and I'll give them the look.
Oh, no, not the Margie look.
Then I go. But we all have to decide how we're going to handle it. If I'm having a really bad day, I may not be as patient with somebody else, but I need to check. I need to be aware.
But go ahead.
I was going to say, if she's having a bad day, stay home.
That's an option.
Do you ever run into a group of people or a person, and they're moaning and groaning about something, and you say, that person is just sitting around looking for something to moan and groan about?
I call it B&M.
Well, yeah. This is TV. But, they're sitting around waiting for something to bitch and moan about, right? And the thing is that those people are never going to be happy.
We're watching you.
And if that's the image that you're trying to project, then that's not a person that's going to be successful or happy anywhere.
But that's life. We're all not going to be, So what? Let them be that way.
Okay.
If somebody's cranky, they're cranky. It's not up to me to change your personality. I mean, I can smile at them, or I could do like the nod that we talked about to let them know I'm there. But, you know, we have 16,000 plus residents here. We're not all going to act alike, be alike, say the same things, want to get involved. We are who we are, regardless of whether we're Sun City residents or not. So we're like a city. So it's up to us to decide how we're going to react to behavior we don't like.
But bring that closer. Let's talk about your circle of peers or your friends. If that's a situation, like I have a friend who I think she's becoming grumpy, you know, and I call it the grumpy 70s. Not everybody in the 70s is grumpy.
That's for sure.
But,
Right, Doug?
but
What?
I kind of see her becoming that person. And I try to egg her on and say, you know, okay, if that's how you are today, I don't let that transfer to me. But, you know, I try to bring it to her attention. So, and find out what's up. You know, maybe she's not feeling well, or maybe something happened. So I feel a responsibility to kind of inquire as to what's going on. And if it's a constant thing, then we need to talk about it.
Do you really? Or can you just say, you know what, I think I'm going to move away from this person?
I've invested too much time.
Okay.
You know, it's a
Okay.
friend. You know, I feel that I would be remiss if I didn't do those things.
Try to correct it, or
Yeah.
try to,
But you're inserting yourself in a situation that you don't want to be in.
Yeah, but it may be temporary.
It may be, it may not be.
And if it's
But
not,
the point
guess what?
is,
I'm trekking.
why should I feel any responsibility to step in and help a person be less curmudgeonly, or whatever the word might be? You know,
Is that an attorney's word?
no, that's just my wife's word for me.
Oh, you're one of those, huh?
The thing is that basically we all came down here for a reason, to fulfill our dream of retirement and living life the way we think would be in our best interest, health-wise, emotionally, and so forth, and mentally, of course. And the thing is, if you run into a situation where someone is being rude or doing something that is your pet peeve, that really takes away from the experience, and we don't want that to happen.
Right.
well, it's going to happen, Doug.
Yeah.
This is real life in a real world. I mean, maybe we don't.
This is
I
a
mean,
real world.
I have grumpy moments. I don't say I'm a grump, but I have grumpy moments.
Sure.
I mean, that feels good sometimes. But you know what? It's just life. I mean, everyone's not going to act like us. Have our theology. Have our way of being kind to people or being not kind to people. You know.
But it may be that moment, and you know, case in point, we went down to this place in Florida that is probably 4 or 5 times larger than Sun City. Everybody knows what I'm talking about. And we use the GPS. You will appreciate this.
Mm-hmm.
And it
I
says,
use a GPS.
it says, you are here, and you're looking, you are here. It's a 4-way stop sign. And I'm going like, okay, where do we go from here? So I knew the community from visiting before, and I said, we'll just drive around and find a rec center and ask someone. So my girlfriend went in, we're dressing, you know, nicely. You know, we were probably overdressed for the area. And the lady was not forthcoming with directions. It was kind of like, well, I like to know who I'm speaking to. Case in point, if that person had been more positive and engaging, my girlfriend had to turn around and say, well, I was entertaining buying here. Perhaps I should reconsider. All of a sudden, oh yeah,
image-
you know, a whole
image
nother
changes.
attitude.
Right.
So my point to you is it just might be that time that you're grumpy or whatever, and we're trying to encourage people to join us. So I think, you know, the whole key is that we have to be conscious of it. How we look, how we interact, how we engage with other people, becoming more of a conscious competent about that and trying to be a better person.
Well, I think, yeah, and I would add to that, be a more positive factor in everyone's existence, so to speak, which is a lofty aspiration. But on the other hand, if you are the person who is inserting negativity into a situation, then that's doing no one any good.
Absolutely.
Doing no one any good. We actually went out on the street in our question and answer segment, and we asked people this question about negativity and the image of Sun City people, and we got some interesting answers. We are at Pinckney Hall today, and we're talking to residents, including Bill America. Hey, Bill.
Hey, how you doing, Dan?
Are you aware when you go outside the gates that you may be misconstrued just because you're from Sun City?
People do act sometime differently when they find out I'm from Sun City. I think it's improved over the years. I'm a 10-year resident now, and I think the negativity I felt 10 years ago has resolved, I think, because they find that we're real people, that we're normal people, that we're really no different than anyone else in the community.
And then do you react differently once you know they know?
That's a hard question to answer. I just live my life, Doug. I try not to be different for different people. I expect people to take me for the way I am, and I take them for the way they are.
Well, thanks for your time, Bill.
Good. All right.
We are here at Pinckney Hall today with Nancy Hill. Good morning, Nancy.
Good morning.
And our question today is, when people realize you're from Sun City, is there any change in attitude, or have you noticed that they sort of pigeonhole you?
If I live in Sun City, everybody's been so friendly here and helpful that I can't imagine living anywhere else.
And how about outside the gates when you meet somebody and they know you're from Sun City?
I haven't run into much of a change at all. Everybody's been accepting.
Okay, and so you don't have to act any way to rebut their assumptions, huh?
No, I don't. If I should, I don't. And and I don't know what happens if I don't. It goes over my head.
Well, thanks so much for sharing time with us.
You're welcome.
We are here at Pinckney Hall today with Sally Rumble. Good morning.
Good morning.
And our question today has to do with the image of Sun City people, both inside and outside the gates. Have you noticed that people treat you differently?
In Sun City, no, we're all like one big happy family. We really help each other, and there's nothing that is going on that we don't have someone that can explain what's happening.
How about outside the gates? You ever run into any issues?
No, people do talk to me and say, "Oh, how is Sun City? Do you like it? Is it a beautiful place?" And we always encourage people to come and look, so that they can move here when they're retired. So I don't have any issues as far as people saying it's not a nice place to live.
Well, great. Thanks so much for your time.
You're welcome. Thank you.
You know, you heard the Q&A answers, and so what advice might you have for people who might be on that cusp, if you will, of being negative or positive about the way things go on?
Well,
Do you have any?
look in the mirror at yourself before you leave the house.
Okay.
You know, do you like what you see? You know, could you dress a little nicer or put on a matching shirt with the pants? Perhaps put on a little cologne and some, make sure your teeth are nice and clean. And
Are you advocating a dress code for Sun City?
not a dress code, but I think we should be conscious of how we present ourselves.
Okay.
An expression of my father's comes to mind.
Uh-oh.
Be sure your own doormat is swept before you criticize someone else's.
Okay.
I grew up with that. Remember the doormat, that's all he had to say. I don't think we can take responsibility for other people and to make them better or smarter or with cleaner teeth. That's not my job.
I'm not saying that, but it's your job as a person to look at yourself and your image.
Yeah, but everybody might not see it that way. So if somebody comes along outside the studio today looking like maybe he's a transient that just happened to lose his way, oh, that's interesting. Look at that guy.
Yeah.
And I might say, gee, I kind of hope he doesn't live here. But it's not, it's going to happen. I mean,
Sure.
we are a conglomerate of people, 30, 40, 30-year age spans here, 40 maybe. So there's going to be different upbringings, different capabilities, different levels of income, different levels of self-care. I don't give a darn, that could be someone's. Take me or leave me, So
Well-
I don't think I want to spend my energy trying to change somebody to be different or better. I only am really responsible for myself.
And I'm not advocating try to change someone else. I'm talking about someone being conscious, competent about how they present
But
themselves.
how do you make that happen?
I don't make it happen. I'm just
Okay.
suggesting through
That people
the
think
people
it
I
through.
engage and people I'm around, the people I may impact because I'm out on the street and meet someone. They may like what they see with me and want to say, oh, gee, you know, that's a nice outfit, or
Right.
I'd like to, you know, look nice when I go out.
Yeah.
You know, maybe they're looking for that someone.
Aha.
Guess what? You know, that someone is going to have that. You got one chance to make that first image, right?
First impression.
First
right,
impression,
right?
right?
Well, you know, and I'll add to this. Those are all good thoughts. I'll add to this that one of the things you should be mindful of is don't be clueless. All right.
Meaning?
Well, I'll tell you.
Please.
Be aware of the situations into which you are going, and have an idea that about the atmosphere, about the person's situation, about what's going on that may be distracting or painful. Don't be clueless. I'll try and give you an example if I think of one. The other thing I would admonish people about is get off your damn electronics. Engage with people. No one likes to see you walking around with your nose in electronics, which sends you the message that I am not going to interact with you. I am either aloof or I'm too engaged and too important to talk to you. I can't even smile at you because I'm looking at Facebook.
And are you saying, Doug, do you see a lot of that in
I
Sun
see a
City?
lot of that.
And you're out a whole lot more than I am.
Well, I
to
don't
see
know about that,
No,
but
I think you are, but
But the thing is, I see situations with people sitting in a restaurant texting each other.
oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you know, you've seen that,
Any
obviously.
age and
Yeah.
or families, yeah.
I think that's rude.
Well, that's my third thing is be mindful of etiquette. What happened to manners? Just because you got to a certain age and you achieved a certain level of success and competence does not entitle you to abandon good manners.
Absolutely.
I agree.
I agree with that.
And go and, you know, take your hat off in a restaurant. I'm sorry, it's a pet peeve. You know,
Please and thank you are nice.
please and thank you are nice. Don't be entitled. And I'm not accusing everybody in Sun City of any of this, but there are instances where it's so obvious that a person is not interested in his image or her image, and it just, you only achieve your best self if you try to be your best self.
Well said.
But if it's not important to them, I'm not going to get myself worked up making it important to me.
Absolutely. No.
I'm not going to change them. I'm not going to say anything. There are too many of us here. We don't have a dress code. We don't have a.
Well, I know. I
You know, I mean, I know.
I'm not
but-
advocating a dress code.
No,
But
I
you know what? We do have a dress code depending upon what you're doing. There are dress codes, and there are people who are used to those, whether it's playing tennis, whether it's
Oh, yeah,
golf,
true.
you know, whether it's, who are the ones, croquet with the white on?
That's
Yeah.
Doug.
Yeah, you're one of them, right?
I'm one of them, yeah.
Yeah.
So there is a dress code depending upon what you're involved in. And I think it's just nice to continue to think about it
Yeah,
in
it
a
is.
sense of when you're out and about.
Well, go ahead.
Well, it's just a matter of whether we're going to let it upset us or not. You know, that's the thing. It can be a day spoiler if we spend too much time
Yeah.
aggravated over it.
Well,
That's,
aren't we getting back to what I just mentioned a little bit in the sense of have an idea of etiquette and good manners and non-rude behavior, because you're not entitled to that rude behavior. No one gave you a license, so why are you doing it now? And whether you get involved in that is up to you, I suppose.
and I would guess if there's a crotchety person that we run into here, they probably have been somewhat crotchety for a good part of their life. You know, it's a personality.
And you have to make allowance for the fact that as you go through the process, you aches and pains multiply and so on and so forth, and everybody's got those issues.
Sure.
But don't be overcome by those issues is, I guess, my message.
Yeah, it's kind of, you just
Be the
have
best
to,
person that you've always
yeah,
been.
and be the model. Like you say, Tina, if you go out nicely dressed, somebody say, gee, I kind of would like to
Yeah.
try that style. That's all we can do, but
Yeah.
it's not going to ruin my day.
Right.
You know, that's what we have to be careful of.
Well, we're in a great place, and we have great times.
Yeah.
Well, we have talked a lot about how we can be better persons and better versions of ourselves. And Larry Kilkoff, our friend from the Out of My Mind segment,
You're out of your mind.
I'm not out of my mind, has a few thoughts on this issue. Larry?
One of the pearls of wisdom I've long mulled over is the notion that one possession you'll always have, which you deserve, is your reputation. On an individual level, I largely think that is true, but it is a veritable fallacy machine when one takes generalizations from group dynamics and assumes them to be true of individuals. And yet we are powerless to stop it. Whether it's your age, race, politics, gender, or geography, if there's a way to pigeonhole you, some people are going to do so based on the previous misbehaviors of a group to which you happen to belong. In this month's edition of The Breeze, the assumptive judgment triggers are age and geography, specifically the mere fact that we live inside the gates of what is truly a marvelous place, Sun City Hilton Head. So let's not tippy-toe around the subject any longer. There is no point in pretending that the beauty of our surroundings has not prevented what is, hopefully, a small minority of folks outside our gates from judging us to be an elderly assemblage of neighbors with at least a few unattractive predispositions. To wit, we supposedly tend to be ill-tempered cranks of a collective composite along the lines of Archie Bunker, Fred Sanford, and the Vicki Lawrence characterization of Mama on The Carol Burnett Show. We are allegedly demanding purchasers of goods and services disproportionate to our willingness to pay for the quality we expect, and bad tippers to boot following our delivery and consumption of that which we've received. And there are some who would say we seem to be stuck in an informational and educational time warp with little interest in learning any new tricks, much less teaching them to our family pets. Well, you could not concoct a bigger pot of hogwash, to be sure. Ill-tempered cranks? Tell that to the organizers of charities like Second Helpings, Backpack Buddies, God's Good, Staying Connected, and so many, many more. Demanding purchasers? Now that is true, but disproportionate to our willingness to pay? Oh no, 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 no. Speaking just for myself, you do the quality of work you implied was your trademark when I walked in the door, and you won't find a more generous tipper or enthusiastic promoter of your talents to others. And anyone who thinks the label retiree is one who has declared a personal moratorium on learning has obviously never heard of the Osher Lifelong Learning Institute. And if you think I am only talking about the University of South Carolina at Beaufort campus here in Bluffton, then you apparently are not aware of the ULI adult education programs for students over age 50 that the Bernard Osher Foundation has parented since 2001 in 120 colleges and universities nationwide. Yes, that's all 50 states and the District of Columbia. I'm Larry Kilkoff, and these kind of stereotypes about me and my neighbors drive me out of my ever-loving mind. Because let me tell you something about Sun City folks. When circumstances aren't always going just right and our glass is half empty, most of us don't merely pout and complain. The whole lifestyle here is geared to one simple correcting exercise. We grab the handle and we pour. And here's to you.
And that's going to wrap it up. Any final thoughts?
Just be accepting, be kind. Let's each take care of ourselves and put our best foot and face forward.
How about it, Tina?
We are the sun in Sun City.
Well said. And we hope that you enjoyed it. We hope we'll get some feedback to you. Join us again next month when we again shoot the breeze.